not. You can't have this.
We're live.
Jeez.
All right, take it away.
Who's it that, is it you that said cracked luck?
We did.
Torquedas.
That's a good one. The meeting will now come to order. Roll call, Mr. Probst.
Here.
Mrs. Brunette.
Here.
Mr. Cowley. Here. Mr. Glonick.
Here.
Mr. Hirsch.
Here.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
And I am here. Let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Glonick.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. The agenda was posted throughout the district according to school board policy, published as a legal ad in the Superior Telegram, and posted on the district webpage. A notice was sent to the connection for publication. The approval of the July 14th, 2025 agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good deal. Item 4, the consent agenda. The June 9th, 2025 regular school board meetings, open and executive session. I would hope you all went through that. If you had any questions, you got it addressed. The treasurer's report, Mr. Cowley.
All right, in the general account on June 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $5,276,631.23 in cash and investments. Receipts since the 1st of July and not included in the June 30th balance are $12,926.74, and the disbursements from tonight's July 14th board meeting total $72,925.01. The flexible spending account on June 30th, 2025, there's a balance of $31,056.92 in cash and investments. The health reimbursement account on June 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $3,253.53 in cash and investments. Debt service fund on June 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $674.92 in cash and investments. A detailed report on fund activities included in the financial statements.
Thank you, sir. Item C, payment of invoices. I would trust that you all took a peek at those, and if you had questions, you reached out to Mr. Fetchel-Cotter. Does anybody have anything they want to ask about that, or are we good? Good. Resignations, employments, and retirements. Mr. Moore.
Yeah, at this month we had no resignations, and for employment we had Mrs. Brecken Ozweski will be the new first grade teacher at NES, and Mrs. Lana Shulman is going to be the 4K paraeducator at both Iron River and NES.
With that being the case, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, please.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good deal. Item 5, the approval items on letter A, 2025-6 food service and meal prices. I would expect this is either you, Mr. Moore, or Mr. Fetchel-Cotter.
Mr. Fetchel-Cotter has
Yeah,
this.
I can tackle this one. So we're to the time of the year where we have to set meal prices for the upcoming 25-26 school year. And this is kind of dating back to post-COVID times. We really tried to keep meal prices as low as possible when we transitioned from no cost for food to starting to have parents pay for it. But the reality is that cost of operating our food service department, and along with the increased cost of food itself, the recommendation from the business office is to do a 50-cent per meal increase across the board. So that would put breakfast at $2.05, elementary lunch at $3.65, middle school, high school lunch at $3.90. Free and reduced. Our reduced prices are set by the state. We cannot adjust those, state and federal government. So really, we don't want to make money, but we can't lose money either in that budget. And this will help kind of balance that out a little bit. We've tried to, as best as we can, hold off on raising prices too fast, too quick, but I'm kind of running into a roadblock here with what's happening outside of our world. So recommendation would be to adopt those food prices for the 25-26 school year.
You said you're running into a roadblock with what's happening outside of, and then I didn't catch the word.
Outside of just the costs.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
okay.
And
Just like everyone else.
everything else, so food is up, and then we do have a number, we anticipate some equipment replacement needs in the coming years. And ironically, an oven for this level is not $5,000. I wish it was.
But maybe you could just touch on the lunch fees. Okay? Is that intended to cover capital equipment as well?
It should, in a perfect world, yes.
Okay, I was thinking that would just cover more direct costs, but no.
That's part, yeah, I guess it's an indirect cost, if you want to call it that. but it
And we
costs-
don't try and cover staff with it.
That's part of the equation, yes.
Oh, the lunch staff. I thought we did not try and offset staff.
It's all what we call Fund 50. It's all food service.
So we try and break even on fund service, period.
Period, yes, yeah. And if we don't, eventually the federal government comes in and tells us, hey, look, here's what your meal prices need to be set at. We're talking with DPI, we're below the state average, which hovers around 4 and change, a little bit above 4 for a lunch price. So we're trying to move the needle, but not have huge jumps. That's what it boils down to. So we set the prices pretty low coming out of COVID times and have kind of slowly incremented up about 25 cents a year to a point where we need to make some more adjustments to it.
Does the meal include a drink? Well, I thought it did, but does
No,
the
there
elementary
is-
school
there's
still
different-
do a
Yeah, there's that,
meal a day?
that's different. That's in addition to, but it's not, the middle school, high school do not do any kind of milk breaks unless they really, really want to.
Any other questions? No, then I would entertain a motion to approve the food service meal prices.
I'll make a motion that we approve the increase of 50 cents per meal. Prices.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That doesn't have to be a individual because it's just, all right. Item B, the adoption of the Wisconsin Model Standards, Common Core Standards, and National Science Standards for the District of 25-26.
Yeah, every year we have to adopt the standards. It's usually the July meeting in Acton. But we use the Wisconsin model for the Common Core Standards and the National Science Standards. So we're looking for your approval on that.
Any questions? If none, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the adoption of the Wisconsin Model Standards.
And a second.
Second.
Anybody opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Did that backward. Motion still passes.
Mix it up a little.
Try to keep everybody under
At least we all didn't say aye.
right? Item C, seclusion and restraint report for the 24-25 school year.
Yeah, in your packet, you had the seclusion restraint report. We do that usually comes out every July as well, for your to take a look at. This year we had no seclusion restraints to report, so that's great.
Does Head Start Brule, is that included in that report?
No, so they're a little bit in that role, so they would report all of their stuff to Superior for the family forum. So that would not be under our problem.
That doesn't fall under us.
Their licensed teacher fell under my supervision. Their students were always by that teacher, but all their reporting would be fed.
Okay.
So looking for your approval for
Yeah, I
that.
need a motion to approve the seclusion and restraint report.
I'll make a motion to approve the seclusion and restraint report.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item D, the cooperative agreement with South Shore regarding occupational therapy.
So we have a 60-40 agreement with South Shore on our occupational therapist. We are looking to approve that tonight.
Is someone already in that position?
Yes, so this is not new. It's the same thing that we've had the last couple of years, so. So sure, and it's been a good relationship. We share one of our occupational therapists with them, so.
Cody, one thing I wasn't clear on is, was there any changes in this contract from last year?
No, basically it's an annual.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I just was curious about that.
So yeah, 3 days with us, 2 days at South Shores is what the game plan is. It's worked well. Obviously, South Shore does give us revenue for that. And recommendation would be to continue it. Works for us and it works for them.
Any questions outside of Mr. Hirsch? Motion whenever somebody's ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with South Shore.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, oh, I have to do a roll call. Mr. Probst.
Aye.
Mrs. Brunette.
Yep.
Mr. Cowley.
Yes.
Mr. Galante.
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch.
Yep.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
And I say yes. All good to go. Item E, policies. Second read for the 34.1 update, and all policies are accessible to board members via your Google Drive. Are there any questions? I had one, but I can wait if somebody else had any questions on any of them.
I'll bring this up as a recommendation. So I'm going to propose that we accept the policies, but I want to bring your attention to 3 policies that I think we need to make an amendment to, right? All 3 of them have the same language, and it's in policy 1130, 3230, and 4230. So I'll give you a chance to pull each one of those up because I want you to see what we're talking about.
1130, 3230, 4230?
Yes, sir.
Which one are they under? Policy?
It's under ethics and conflict of interest.
I
All
think,
three of those are titled the same.
and I think the language is pretty similar across each one. It's just
Exactly.
different employee groups. So
Yeah,
I
so
think
you
if
can pull up either one of those, you're going
one
to
of
see the
them.
same thing. And when you get that open, I want you to bring your attention to letter B. Okay, I assume you're there. So the recommendation that I'd like to make is that we scratch letter B, and the reason is it's a bit ambiguous when it says, when it uses the term relative. So it says employees shall not directly supervise a relative employed by the district. I don't think that language is well worded. What is a relative? Okay, is it spouse, third cousin? I mean, to me, that's
Need a definition.
Was it defined anywhere?
I could not find it. I think they checked on that. And I think my recommendation is with this tight community that we are here, I'm not sure that we even need that line in there.
Like, pretty sure it's there so that you don't have too close of, like,
Yeah, we don't.
supervising a spouse.
Yeah.
I understand the
So I
intent.
think there has to be something there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I would rather add definition to how far the relative is going to be inclusive of versus removing it. Because I wouldn't want there to be a principal spouse, like teacher spouse. I feel like that would place them in a difficult position. Like typically, it's not that they can't be in those positions, it's just there's an alternative reporting structure. They report to another principal or whatever. I think it's important to have that so that if there's an understanding that they don't directly report to, but it's not that it can't happen. It's just that there's a plan in place. And then I think we should just define if there's a question about relative.
Well, there could be cannot supervise a relative with some language unless the board authorizes it, right? So we know about it. If there is a.
Can I propose this then? Because and I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go.
Because mine was under the same thing under item B in those 3
Okay, good.
things. So I guess perhaps can do we want to table those 3 policies and then maybe have this particular discussion tomorrow evening to define that? And then we can bring that back at the August meeting for approval.
Then I think it's important for the board to know typically, and I've got a couple principals in the room, we find a way administratively to make sure we're not crossing that
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Which is how it should
Jack,
be.
if I can share, what you described is very common practice.
Yep.
Because it is in education, there's a lot of administrators that have spouses that are also educators.
Yeah.
So because of the imbalance of power, they then have time in, like that example, might come down and I'm sure the supervisor.
So I think we've made it work internally with some of the cases that we've had. I have no issue with defining it a little bit more. But you are correct, Vince. Yes, we're a small community. There's most likely going to be some kind of relative relationship potentially with an administrator and an employee. I know I can speak for myself. I would not want to evaluate my wife, who's a teacher here.
No fear, man.
Seriously?
Would not be a good idea.
Yeah, I think it just sets clear boundaries, but I do agree, having some definition around what defines a relative. In a bigger city, it's probably not as much of an
Yeah.
issue, but is third cousin considered a relative?
Yeah.
Not according to Jared Lee Lewis.
Moving on.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess, is everybody on board with tabling those 3
Yep.
revisions, 1130, 3230, and 4230, until the August board meeting for a clearer
Yeah,
definition
that's good
regarding relative?
So I'll make that motion to, unless there's other questions, to approve the policy revisions as stated, with the exception of 1130, 3230, and 4230, which are being tabled.
And I know it's 24-hour turnaround. I'd be interested if administration had a recommendation on how to clean that up.
We just have to define, we have to put that out, how we define it.
I guess if you wanted to come with, this is how we think you should define
Yeah.
relative, it'd be cleaner for the board to
Yep,
approve.
I have no problem getting that done tomorrow.
Yeah.
so.
I have a motion on the table.
I had one question. I just wanted somebody to just kind of clarify the 3rd grade promotion and retention. Is that completely new?
Yes.
It's completely new.
Yep, so on the heels of all the stuff with Act 20 that came through, in the legislation, there's also language about required retention of third grade. That really scared almost every 3rd grade teacher in the state. My opinion, I think Nola knocked it out of the park. If you look at the way that this was drafted, it really gives parents a big hand in this, and it allows schools and teachers to work with parents to say, is this in the child's best interest or not? So I'm in favor of this policy as it's been brought to you, because that allows us to work very closely with the families and the teachers to say, we've done everything we can. This child would benefit from it or they wouldn't benefit from staying.
And this only applies to students who have a plan?
Yep.
So what happens to like a regular 3rd grader who just fails? I know, well, they don't get grades until they're in 4th grade, so I guess you don't
Letter
actually
grades.
fail in letter grades.
Little difference with that. So the requirements under Act 24 assessing kids start when they're in kindergarten. So if a kindergartner struggles with reading skills and they drop below the 25th percentile compared to the rest of the kids in the country, then that child would automatically have to have a personalized reading plan. If that plan is redundant and the wheels are spinning, then we're supposed to go down the path of the special ed referral like we've done for years. If we get to a kid who, maybe we're in that 30th to 25th percentile, they have bubble, and all of a sudden in 3rd grade, they're not keeping up. Then they would be on a personalized reading plan to individualize the instruction in 3rd grade. And then if that child isn't progressing, then this policy says we will work with the families to say, is it in their best interest to repeat 3rd grade? Which in my 7 years here, I've had one parent that has looked at the class we working through. But other than that, retention is not something we do very often. More so in kindergarten than upper grades.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I still need a second.
Second.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. All those in favor, you say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? passes. You have all that, Ms. Item 6, the administrative reports. Item A, the 25-6 bus pickup procedures. Guessing this is going to go toward Mr. Fetchel-Cotter and Mr. Amos.
I'm gonna throw it to the guy to my left, Mr. Amos, Transportation Director.
Does he want the mic?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he gets the mic.
Oh, you
mic.
want the mic? I might pick you up if you talk loud.
All right, this is something we've thought long and hard about, and I know I brought it to the admin meeting, and we came up with a plan that we really think we should proceed with this year. We would like to switch the way we are. Morning routes are gonna stay the same, nothing's changing in the morning. Nighttime, we would like to have the high school buses, we'd have three buses here. At the high school, we'd have all of our elementary would load exactly the same way. We would do our transfer at the middle school. The reasons for this is, the problem is we have, our elementary kids are on the school buses too long. They start loading at grad school at 3:10. They're not leaving here till 3:45, some of the buses. So these kids are on the bus for half an hour before they even start to go home. And this is a big discipline problem. It's hard on children. It's hard on any children to sit on the bus that long before you even get to start to go home. So what we would like to see happen is that the buses would shuttle to the middle school. We would do our exchange right there. Another thing that it would do for us is it would stop, when we leave the middle school on a normal day, we have 15 buses that have to get out on Highway 2, and they're all taking a left turn. All right, so they're crossing traffic. We have buses that are not as patient as they should be, and if they were really patient, it would be even longer. So what would happen is, once we do in middle school, we do all our loading, we would have actually 7 buses that would head towards the high school. We'd have 6 buses that could leave the elementary entrance, go towards Poplar. 2 buses would be just heading straight up Weehee, so they wouldn't be on the highway whatsoever. We feel this is the best way. We used to do this when I was a younger driver. We used to do a collection like that. We just think, the one problem is, and Tanya, I'm sorry, the only problem is we're not gonna be messing with times whatsoever. We're not messing, I'm not gonna say whatsoever. You might have some kids at your school about 3 or 4 minutes longer by the time we get this. Because we'd have the last 3 buses at the elementary would shuttle to the middle school for the 3 buses that are leaving the high school. So we would have some mixing and, kids moving, but the last 3 would be at the last 3. So there'd be a little bit of confusion there, but we think after a while.
In ours, I looked at the best possible options for the elementary to have the lowest amount of kids for the buses that are coming over to the middle school. So it's not a bus of 40 kids that has to transfer. It'd be 3 to 5 kids.
What, go ahead.
When you talk about a small group, what are we thinking of potentially?
The elementary.
For the, no, I mean
3
for
to
middle
5 kids.
school, still there.
I don't know.
Because you said there'd be some students left over at the middle school.
Well, what it is that you would have some middle school kids say that the 3 buses that come from the high school, you might have to hold those 3 buses of middle school right in front of your building until we show up. They would say the buses are here, and then we could let all those 3 middle schools go. And then we would do the exchange between the elementary and the high school. The high school, as soon as they threw those 3 buses, they would all walk to their respective buses. There's not a lot of kids at the high school that are gonna ride over here.
Is there, going back some history here, but there was, I think everything used to transfer at the elementary school, which turned into a bit chaotic, and that was the change for all of this stuff. So with this having to happen at the middle school, are we gonna have to have additional staff to make sure we don't have kids behaving poorly at the middle school, getting off and running around and acting like kids, smart children?
I appreciate that question because, yeah, it probably sounds simpler than if it's like, oh, we're going to have 40 or you know, middle school students left over at school, they can't be unsupervised, so we've gotta make sure we've got people in a position and a place for that. So I think we'll fine tune that in August. I'm confident we'll figure it out, but it could be something like that too, where someone maybe is, we offer it if someone would like to stay 10 extra minutes or something. But we'll figure it out.
So, and then currently, so the buses that are currently leaving NMS finish loading at 3:35.
Yep.
So at 3:35, all of our buses
Okay.
are leaving to start dispersing children, as opposed to 3:45, 3:50 as it was historically. So you're 10 to 15 minutes faster.
We
Mr.
just, like I said, that's the one piece of it. The other is the traffic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Keep our buses off.
Well, and mileage.
Okay, I have two questions. I think the first one's already been answered because I was just trying to. I really appreciated your problem statement with regards to the elementary school children staying on the buses for this period. That's a really, I can see that being an issue. So thank you for addressing that. And it sounds like we're going to cut at least 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes off of that wait time period. Is that what we're looking at? Okay. Yeah, so that's a good step in the right direction. Logistically, I'm trying to picture 15 buses at the middle school.
We're already doing it right now.
So there's no
This is
space.
this is what we've been doing.
Okay, so no space constraints there?
We have no. They pretty much all fit, because we go diagonal. We come in diagonally. Now, the last bus might hang over the edge a little bit. But you have vision of all. If Tanya came out the front, she would see all 15 buses.
Okay, I wasn't sure they all 15 years.
And realistically, that's probably going to save additional time because people leaving the middle school making a right or going straight aren't having to come back and sit in line on F. You know what I mean? So I mean, you're saving that trip back to go to Weehee or to Amnicon or wherever we're at.
I think the answer's okay. So there's a lot of traffic going to the elementary school with parents picking up kids. This doesn't create any additional congestion, will it?
Normally, by the time we're leaving the middle school, the parents at the elementary school are going.
They don't mingle when they come out of the elementary school. Thankfully, we have the two separate parking lots, so all the buses come over to the middle school. And with the exception of the few that come to pick up middle school, all the rest of them go out first, and then the middle school buses come out of the middle school, and they're already gone. It works pretty smooth. Our drivers do a really good job.
Just trying to break up the traffic.
Yeah, you can get your buses okay from the elementary school to the middle school, no problem.
Yep, that would all be the same. That's not changing. The only thing changing is when we do the shuttle at the middle school.
Logistically, the way to have a bus coming to the high school, it picks up one student and then ends up going west.
That's,
Functionally, this building has the fewest bus riders compared to our middle school and elementary school, of course, because they're high school age, they can drive. So running all 15 buses up here is definitely not, one, efficient because we're loading very few students, and two, it's time consuming because we're all turning left on the highway too.
Can I ask one busing question that's a little bit off topic, but I got you. In my neighborhood, there are 3 families in close proximity, and the bus makes 3 stops to pick up the kids at the end of each driveway. Is it that without sidewalks, they can't walk at all down the road? I mean, they're, from here to those trees over there kind of thing. It just seems like it'd be a lot quicker if.
they should have to be picked up in front of the place. They shouldn't be walking.
They're not. I'm saying you're making 3 stops for a pretty minimal walking.
Yeah,
He's asking about having one central
Yeah.
bus stop.
It just seems like you could shorten bus routes.
We can definitely look into that.
Yeah.
If I knew which ones you were talking about.
Yeah, I can get you after the meeting. I just am curious how many of those are out there and what we could do to our busing if we.
So in a big city.
Yeah.
I believe we have a couple of community pickups.
Put it out there.
Okay.
Not many.
So this is.
Is there
just
any-
a procedure.
So is there any buses, so maybe this doesn't happen. So some staff have students get picked up here in the morning?
Yep.
But there's no students that come here in the evening, is there?
there's students that come.
So is
here.
there a bus that would come?
Yes.
Yes,
we-
there's still a
we will
bus
Still
coming,
have a
right?
bus that's
Okay.
gonna leave middle school. We'll have a bus that for teachers' children
Comes
that
here.
will come here.
Okay.
And we'll have a bus that'll go to the elementary that would shuttle,
Okay.
any students that go to their parents at that school.
I personally think it's, I think originally when we switched the bus routes to make sure elementary got picked up first because kids were having a difficult time getting a seat and that stuff, I think that was a good move. But I think with time, everything changes a little bit and you have different looks and needs and stuff. And I appreciate the look into this. I know the majority of parents are going to be appreciative that their kids are on the bus less, and safety is always a concern. So, and there's no motion or anything needed, just a procedural thing. So,
Could I just say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
It has to do with last year when we eliminated a route. I ran the numbers on that. We saved 33,000 miles last year from the year before. So we said we were not being very efficient. It was true. I didn't even share that with Cody.
Way to sandbag him in the meeting. I like it. Cody, 33,000.
well, I'd be interested in knowing what mileage we're going to save with this. I mean, how far is it from the middle school to here? That's it, mile.
Mile 25.
I think you'll see it more in the hours.
Yeah.
More bus
hours
drivers
and
driving down
idle
Highway
time.
2.
Yeah.
Because if that 45 doesn't work, it doesn't help. It helps a little bit, but we're just cranking through there and there's traffic.
We have a lot of cars, a lot of buses going on the 3 entrances to a major highway.
Yeah.
Do they still have a passing zone right in front of the middle school and high school? Did they eliminate that?
I won't call it a passing zone.
It's a quick.
No, but there's a
Yes.
there's a dotted line there,
Yes.
isn't there?
Yeah.
How is there a dotted line there?
That's for
I-
vehicles
I've
turning
asked
left,
about
you can
that
go around it.
for 10 or 15 years.
It's
like-
not a passing zone, it's a
bypass lane.
It's a bypass.
Oh,
So a
for
vehicle
people
turning
turning
left, you can go around is what it's for. It's not an actual.
I thought actually the middle line, the center line,
You're asking about the
the
center line.
center line, I believe.
Oh, it's dotted.
It's dotted.
Oh, I see.
Center line is dotted.
That should not be done.
The separation between east and west traffic is dotted.
Yes.
So you could
Yeah.
hypothetically.
And I've asked
pass
about that
and
for
then
years.
post
It's like, I can just see somebody pulling out.
Yeah. Someone going
Especially a
70.
16-year-old kid
Yeah.
thinks he can.
Dan, we'll look into that.
Yeah, reach up.
I seriously, I've asked
Yeah.
about it multiple times when I was I just thought that was the worst thing I've ever.
We'll buy you the gallon of paint. You can go. Take care of it.
I've got
Anybody on the
sniper
county
ideas,
board?
so Take care of it.
So State Patrol won't mind.
As long as it's the right yellow, we're good to go.
Just tell him Carl said it was okay.
All right. Item B, communications received. Mr. Moran?
Yeah, we got our social media report card, was in your packet. We have, this month, we had a total of 4126 followers on Facebook, a growth of 77, and an average monthly reach of 18,442 people. So Instagram, you can see as well, have 1,087 followers. That's a growth of 42. And we reach, monthly reach out for that is 3,045. So nice shout out to our people in social media world that make that for us.
That is all.
That's all.
All right.
Short and sweet.
Item C, school handbooks and emergency management plans.
Yep, you had your school handbooks and emergency plans in your packet for you to look at and go through. We will look at the August meeting to approve those handbooks.
If you're looking to try to get yourself to sleep quickly, why don't you crack that baby open? Just like it's riveting stuff.
It's going to be a test.
Item D, the maintenance report.
Pretty standard on the maintenance end of things. Our facility crews are hard at summer maintenance. So if you were to walk the halls of any of our buildings, you're going to see a lot of desks and chairs and file cabinets out in the hallways as they clear out all the rooms and really give them a deep clean and then put new coats of wax down or shampooing carpets. So pretty standard operating procedure for us. I caught all the buildings and every one of them feels they are where they need to be, if not a little bit ahead, which is good news because we'll be opening school back up here before we know it. So pretty basic with summer maintenance that way. One other thing I want to throw in, we are going to go live with our auction items. We talked about this in the past, so it's just really a reminder. The buses that we no longer need, we'll use Wisconsin surplus auction to try to get as much revenue from those sales as possible. And then there'll also be some other items from Mr. Charlier's in our tech ed program. And these are various woodworking tools that one of two things, either they no longer use or we've bought replacements for. So they've been in storage for, in some cases, a year or 2 or 3, if not more. So it is time for us to get rid of those as well. So you'll kind of see that lot through Wisconsin surplus. So anybody in TV land out there, keep an eye open for that if you're interested in those items.
Has the gym floor been done yet? Or what is
They will do that. It's scheduled to start Monday.
That's down for like a week, right?
2 weeks. Yep. I just talked to Stalker Sports Floors, does that for us. They may sneak in here this weekend. He's going to call me. We'll make sure that they can get in if he can get a crew up here to try to get that done as quick as possible because we know our gyms are always in demand.
Which floors again?
They do all of them for us. All of them will be refinished.
They're not sanding them, they're.
No, they just-
Yeah, resurfacing, I should say, yeah. We're not breaking them down. Eventually, we will have to, it's on my list of things to do. The middle school in particular is very much past due for a complete overhaul. Sanding it all the way down to the bare wood and then repainting courts and then sealing it back up. So that one will be on the radar for sure. NES is probably not far behind on that. The high school we have done, trying to keep up with for sure our main competition floor. And the upper gym is.
We got one more sand in her. Should last us 20 years.
Let's see, yep, that'll work.
That's the upper floor, there's one more sand in?
Yes, that's what we're told. There's, only so many.
Yeah,
So
before
much
you
you can do
start
with it
hitting
before you
it.
run out of real estate to sand.
All right, item E, the WASB correspondence and legislative report. Is that you, Mrs.
Yeah,
Burnett?
it is.
All right, have at it.
All right, so the 2025-27 budget process has come to a close, and Governor Easer signed into law the new compromised budget deal. The deal saw special education reimbursement raised to an estimated 45% for the second year of the budget, and high-cost special education to an estimated 90%. It also saw an additional one-time $30 million invested into mental health supports, and the roughly $40 million in early literacy funding appropriated last budget finally released. It also saw full funding of the Office of School Safety, a minimal increase in positive modifications to transportation aid. I did include the full breakdown of all of the spending. I won't go through it, but I'm guessing to Cody's all of the other things happening in the world. The general aid per pupil aid low revenue ceiling saw 0 increases. There was some changes in definitions around revenue limits, etc. There were some transportation aids in the high cost transportation program. So hopefully we can reap some of those benefits. But otherwise, the full report on all of the funding is included in the WASB report for July.
How big a deal is that stuff for us? Any quick?
Yeah, 10,000 foot summary. Happy with the additional special education funding. And I appreciate and have emailed our representatives to say thank you. It's nice to let them know. I know they don't hear that often. There's, as with any budget, there's things you're going to like and things you wish more of. Without any increase in general aid or per pupil aid, there's still some of those inflationary things that we'll deal with. And right now in process of kind of putting it all together, and we'll have additional conversations here in the coming months because September is not that far away when we'll have our annual budget meeting. So it's good to know because the initial conversations were that this budget, at least initially, they were thinking was going to go a lot longer before they had an agreement. At least now I know the game, and we can kind of start looking at the future a little bit clearer.
The transportation aid portion, I know historically we've qualified for that. So do we qualify for that $50 increase as well?
Yes. So we'll any student that lives 12 miles or more from our our buildings. We'll get an extra $50 a year for transport, which will help us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They did, it's what we call some certain pot of money. So it used to have to be 140% over the state average. We surpassed that by far. They moved it down to 135%. So what does that really mean? Essentially, more school districts going to qualify. So I anticipate that our transportation aid will drop a little bit because there's more districts tapping that resource. How that is going to affect us, it's tough for me to say right now. But so on one hand, great. On the other hand, I anticipate probably fewer dollars because more schools will qualify for that support.
All right, the CISA 12 report.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
We did not meet last month, so there is not a report this month.
When is your meeting for this month?
Do you want me to look at my calendar?
I thought
I don't have it right.
maybe you were just like Johnny on the
I
spot.
got so much stuff in my head.
All right. Item G, donations.
There were no donations this month.
All right. Item H, student, staff, and community recognition.
You know, one thing I wanted to say is I wanted to give a shout out to Jenny and Brett and Wendy for Jenny and Brett did a good job of helping Wendy with the audit last week, and Wendy did an outstanding job preparing for the audit and getting everything to the auditors. And just want to say how thankful I am for those three ladies working in our office. They did a great job.
I could actually piggyback on that because I got a phone call from whoever those people are, asking me a handful of questions and saying that everybody was wonderful to work with, and they don't always get that. So,
We got a great team.
It's good.
all
I
right.
can add one thing. On Saturday, they had the Brady Van Holt Memorial at the basketball court at the Hawthorne baseball field, and now there's a basketball court there dedicated to him. So we had a thing on Saturday to get the news there and everything. So
Repeat, where is that at again?
the Hawthorne ball field.
At the Hawthorne Ball?
Yeah.
Nice things there. Very nice.
There was if we're going to go back in a row, there was yesterday, there was a memorial service for a gentleman named Clyde Grubley, who graduated from Northwestern, would have been about 1978-ish. Anyways, he passed away, and in the obituary, and his family and his request was all financial donations that would have been given to that. He had a couple of things designated, but one of them was Northwestern High School football program. So I'm not saying there's money coming, but it was nice that after all those years, it was still dear to his heart. So.
One more thing too, Miss Alexis has completed her program, has graduated with her master's now for her principal license. So congratulations. Just a little shout.
Yeah. All right. Now is the time for the comments from the audience. Let's see here. Now that we have